Recording. As I call out the names, let's give them a round of applause. I know this is a virtual session, but let's keep the energy rolling. I have with me Dr. Nandagopal, Director, Xavier Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship. I have Ms. Anusha Ravi, CEO of Park Group of Institutions. Come on, keep the applause going. Yep. I have Mr. Thank you for that. I have Mr. Silambarasan, Senior Coordinator, Isha Vidhya Group of Schools. Mr. Raj Borulkar, Head Solution Enterprise Business, Tata Tele Business Services. And Mr. Mahendra Tiwari, GM SME Operations, Tata Tele Business Services. Thank you for that. I now invite Mr. Mahendra to deliver the welcome address. Mahendra, can you please unmute yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello, afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome all respectable panelists and guests. This event is organized to understand how technologies have been changing the ways businesses are done in this new normal, to not just only survive, but to thrive, and converting all adversities into opportunities. We have our eminent panelists. We have our eminent panelists who would share their knowledge and experience on how these technologies have changed the education sector and how can we all capitalize on the large opportunities which is lying out there, which can help us to scale and attain the market leadership. I am sure this session would be a request if all can go on mute. I'm sure this.
All guests have been muted. You can unmute your line by pressing *6.
Mahendra,
you need to also unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Is my voice audible now?
Yes, please go ahead.
So I'm saying we have our eminent panelists who would share their knowledge and experience on how these technologies have changed the education sector. How can we all capitalize on these large opportunities lying out there, which can help us to scale and attain market leadership? I'm sure this session would certainly help you all to take some crucial points back and implement for the growth of your organizations. With that, I welcome you all and handing over to Anmol.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mahendra, for setting the precedent to this discussion. It's interesting to note those background noises, mute, unmute kind of glitches, because the education system is also kind of feeling the same. It's very difficult for students and teachers to interact. In fact, I'm joined with the who's who of the panel today, and we're going to talk about just exactly that. The format of this discussion is very simple. I have about 5 to 6 questions with me, and I would love to get the views of the panel on these questions. I request the panelists to keep your answers short and crisp so that we can adhere to the time limit, and it will help us hear out from everyone. Great. With that, I'm going to dive into a round table. My first question, probably I'll bring in Dr. Nandagopal into this. Technology is changing the face of education. How is the education industry responding to this new normal? So you'll have to unmute yourself, please.
Thank you, Anmol. I think when last year, when the issue came up, this corona, and the first when we went down lockdown, we were clueless. I think till that time, even a good institutions, top business schools or engineering colleges, we didn't use much of the technology. Maybe some of us, we used to have a LMS, learning management system, to some extent. and other few basic things we would have used this technology for our teaching. We can continue to use only chalk and board technology so far. Suddenly, when change came, we didn't know what to do. We are completely clueless. But thanks to technology, we immediately understood the need, and we also understood the technology. In fact, people like us, we were all old generation, but we were able to quick to understand how to use Zoom. So before that, we never had a what is Zoom or what is a MS. All this MS, all these things we didn't know. But suddenly we picked up and we were able to deliver it in very, very fast time. And the technology which we used, I think maybe I remember when we closed somewhere around March 23rd, we were almost fag end of the course. So we got 15 to 20 days of classes to go. But we took the Zoom and immediately we started the classes and students also responded. And of course, the major challenge came for our evaluation system. Of course, we were able to do something during that particular time because first time online examination, we all didn't know what to do, but we used LMS effectively. But because our institute used Moodle as a platform for LMS, so we were able to quick understand how to use LMS for conducting examination. We were able to do that. I think that's a quick response how we reacted to the first wave of COVID.
Thank you for sharing that very interesting perspective. How quickly you moved, and this is the way forward. Anusha, what are some of the challenges you feel institutions have gone through to adapt to this new normal? Of course, Dr. Nandagopal mentioned the evaluation part of it, the evaluation angle, but I'm sure there are a lot of other challenges. If you can share some perspectives on that.
Yeah, I think what we felt was the world was ready for the technology. Everything was there. People were just not using it. And I deal with from K-12 to up to PhD education. So the dynamics are very different, and the economic segments that we deal with in polytechnics and other segments are also very interesting. Are you able to hear me? Because my video.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think. The interesting thing was everybody used to say all this, online education will take 15 years at least to, get speed and momentum. And all we know, 15 days, everything was up and running in all the institutions. Actually, yesterday in my all staff, I had mentioned that, we should be thankful. There are so many industries that totally got shut down. There's no functioning, nothing. And, education is an area where we could survive with all the technology that was always already there. But there has been challenges. It was not without the challenges, of course, but I think it's a good thing. Going forward, there are challenges also, in education, how we should take this forward. But overall, it has been an interesting and very rapid learning of learning and adaptation of technology into education. And I think the whole industry should be proud of what we have done.
Absolutely. I think hats off to teachers and college management, which has, moved so swiftly to adapt to the new technology. I think teachers have also undergone, a lot of learning in this process. Raj, I'll come to you. How effective has digital technology been in education? We've moved to it, but how effective is it?
You're asking me?
I'm going to Raj.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. While before making a statement, let me tell you that the madam said we are the people. The education is an industry who has immediately grasped all these things, and they are the people to come up first. Yes, data says that there are two industries who have adopted this new so-called normal very fast in education, and second is the call center. And all the solutions what we have been offering is around these guys also, because these people are the fastest one. So let me come back to the question what you have posed to me is effective digital technology. Actually, here I heard panelists saying that we are the people we did not know about this earlier, and now they know. Educators and school lenders are actually they started rethinking on the one biggest thing is the data. How do I transfer a data? There are four factors. Let me take out the four factors who are actually new innovative methods which can be done for the data collection. One is formative, culminating the data, and summation of data, and alternative assessment. These are the four things in digital people started working on from schools. Let me tell you the 5 digital technologies which normally which are gathered. Actually, these are not. I've just spoken to a lot of education people, and I found out there are 5 things I want to narrate. One is the app innovative and gamification. These are one digital innovation happened. Not innovation you can say, but this is happening. But this is adoption. First adoption is done by education people. That is enabling students to create their own apps to create their like they are in the past classrooms. Second is a digital literacy. Okay, just now gentleman said about literacy of the digital. Yes, digital literacy may encompass simple student tasks such as creating classroom presentations or more collaborative work such as video clips creation and the posting online mind maps. I'm just saying mind maps because mind map is a new buzzword in student thing. The third is collaborative learning. Okay, I will only narrate in one. Edu creation, interactive whiteboards. And there we have all these things, we have solutions are running around. These are very important. Innovation and interactiveness happen because of edu creation, interactive whiteboard. Fourth is library media. It says that the library, the content is very important to transfer. Herein we have technology like CDL, okay, installing or the creating data space at the cloud, which has come up in this one. The last is PD we call as, that is self-directed professional development. Because in order to do this webinar, in order to do videos, we need to train the trainer, train the teachers to adopt this particular digitization. So where people have actually, the digitization has come up and it has been adopted by education. This is what I wanted to say about digital effectiveness.
Sure. Thank you for bringing up that, Raj. I think it's very interesting how the dynamics have changed. I'll go to Mr. Silambarasan. Do you think this technology is here to stay, or are we going to go back to a conventional methods of teaching once the pandemic is over? What's your perspective on this?
We have a separate content team to create content for the schools. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens when we went into this digital mode of trade teaching? We curated content related to the digital content. So we found out there are a lot of resources in terms of simulation, in terms of animation, which could be used in the really day-to-day regular conventional education as well. So our estimation is whatever we are going through, we are curating, and more than 50% of the content can be used or retained in our regular conventional schools. So that's we feel that way.
Sure. And do you think this is going to continue, or we are just going to go back to the brick and mortar, in the 4 walls, and it is post the pandemic?
I think it will be a combination of both conventional as well as a digital form. We using the digital media, we found a lot of convenient. For example, we are able to bring in people from all around the world for workshops and seminars, which is not possible in a traditional way of education. But even if you go open the school, in the coming years, we will like to do the same thing for the rest of the years, because that's a very good advantage, right?
Right. It's the whole world has become flatter, so to speak. Maybe I'll get Dr. Nandagopal's perspective as well. So is it going to continue as a hybrid model, Doctor? Do you feel this is how education is going to be from here on? If you can unmute yourself, please. Yeah.
I think it's an interesting question. I think if you have seen the Western schools, business schools, and some of the universities already went for a hybrid model. So they all went on online courses, and Coursera and these kind of things were available. But only thing, Indian education system didn't adapt to the technology. So this gave us an opportunity to inline with the technology. I think in future it is going to be a hybrid model where we are going to use. And I could see a lot of creativeness in our students also. See, we have a lot of, I think maybe 100 tools are available. I was surprised when I came to know, I know only 100, maybe it's more than 100 tools. So we use different kind of tools for different kind of, in fact, we learn a lot from our students. They come out with the new presentation tools and new tools which explain conducting the quizzes, surveys. So many options, so which we are not aware all these days as a teachers. Now we got an opportunity. I think now the education system going to be redefined with the technology, using the technology. I think it's going to be wonderful learning experience for all of us. I think this helps going to take our education system to the next level. Hopefully now online courses will start picking up. I think you know that today we have a lot of MOOC courses in India itself. I think our SWIM platform and edX and the IIMs and IITs, they're all doing very good job. And now we are trying to integrate these online courses along with our curriculum also. And in fact, one interesting experience which I tried, I used to teach strategic management for a quite long time. So this time what I did was I gave 4 cases: Amol, VKC Chappal, and again McNadal and TVS. And I asked the students to prepare the whole case. And fortunately, I happened to have a good connect with all the CEOs of all the 4 companies. They happened to be my friends or my alumni. I brought them when the case was presented. So they heard 2 hours presentation and they came lot of insights, and they also learned a lot from the students. I think this is where the tools is going to make our learning more and more effective. A CEO coming and listening to his own case, and listening, I mean, students, when they make a presentation, CEO of that company listening their presentation gives completely different perspective. I think this is going to be more, it's going to be new normal. And I think educational institutions are going to take advantage of all these things.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that perspective. So you're saying this was possible because it's so easy for a CEO to just enter an online meeting and attend, vis-a-vis flying down to the campus.
That's true. For example, in fact, again, coming back to teaching of strategic management. Now, I think in the YouTube, Michael Porter's 5-force model, when he talked in Harvard, it is available. Now, when I taught the 5-force model, I used Michael Porter's whole presentation when he was teaching at a Harvard Business School by using the YouTube. So I used it as a supplement in my own session. So when I talk 5-force model of Michael Porter, when Michael Porter video itself, I can use it. You can understand how effectively students learn.
Right. I love the enthusiasm. I'm sure our education system is in safe hands. If our leaders think this way, I'm sure it's going to go a long way. Anusha, I'm going to play the devil's advocate out here. While Raj was mentioning about the digital transformation, somewhere the student is still left out. It's the whole online experience is still not that personal. I know a lot of students who are cheating in online exams as well. How do you handle that part? How do you, keep it very personalized and with the same discipline?
Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, I think, while there are many advantages to going forward, the technology, and it's very exciting, because education has not had a new model for hundreds of years. We've been transforming, little bit, but no disruption has happened. Now there is a total disruption of the, the environment itself. So we need to come up with, and while we are talking about use of technology, I think there are very few places they are using technology as it is meant to be. You should also be aware that the classroom has just gone digital. It is not fully digital yet. So, instead of chalk and board, they are just using the cameras, and, that's, I think probably more than 50% of the education is happening that way. So as you rightly said, the people engagement, while you're in class, you can see how they react. All these things. Even my daughter, she's in 12th grade now. She, they find ways to get around the system. These things are very common. So how effective it's going to be, while the excitement is going on, we may not catch it. Maybe 10 years down the road or 5 years down the road, we are losing touch with, the kids. And, there has to be a hybrid model, as you were all talking about. And there has to be a perfect balance. I'm not a strong believer in saying that everything can be done by technology, although I'm a technology person, I have a PhD in computer science, but still I don't believe that everything can be replaced with technology, and there is a risk involved in it. So we have to find the right balance, and there has been, I think this was several years back, in a TED conference, I heard that, there'll be, social engagement centers where when technology and you're sitting in a room and you become an individual and you never have the social interaction. So the schools of the future will have social interaction centers where the children can come and interact and go, such things like that. There should be while we are progressing very drastically with technology, because of the situation also, it is not like we have a choice today, but while we are rapidly moving forward, we should also cautiously see the impact and what can be left out, what will be left out if we move in this space, and try to address that on the side. I think that that approach to education should be adopted early on rather than having a correction course later. Yeah.
Sure, sure. So technology is more of an enabler. It can't replace the entire core itself. And I think that's where I'll bring
what
Mahendra.
aspects of it, I'm not sure. It has to be studied thoroughly, because it's all speculations, right? It's all based on, we don't know the impact of what is what. There are studies that says the Japanese kids who engage in online games and all that, there is a term for it which I forgot. I read it a long time back. They just lose social engagement. They go online at 6 p.m. in the night, and they stay on till next morning, and the parents are supposed to just give them food, and they just lack social interaction. These are the ones that become criminals who even attack their own parents. So this is an article that I read long time back, which just got ingrained in my head. So there are things that we should be very, very careful about while we take things totally digital.
Sure. I'm glad TikTok is banned. Mahendra, I'll come to you. What is the role of service providers like Tata Tele Business Services in the educational ecosystem particularly?
So I take a point from what Anusha has mentioned. Adoption of technology was bleak pre-pandemic. So eventually, these technologies were always available, but it was always being seen as a cost and not as an enabler. We always believe as a telco, telcos were always being treated like a pipe providing company or a voice providing company. We got graduated over the period, and we have come up with relevant solutions which can enable my customers to leverage and strengthen these technologies, strengthen basis on these technologies, and to make sure that they can not only scale their business, but they can reach to the wider audience. Like you would have seen, that paradigm shift has also resulted in a lot of foreign education institutes entering into the Indian market. Likewise, there are a lot of Indian institutes like our customers. I would like to name Byju's, Upgrade, Simply Learn. They have been leveraging or riding on the wave of technology. And many others, those have been expanding their business using these technologies. We talk about smart flow, school bus tracking solutions. Like we are talking about all these content which is available on a particular website or an app, how these apps can be used in a very seamless manner. We can provide content delivery network. We can provide cloud solutions to education institutes. You were also talking about how to engage with the students. I have also seen some technologies wherein this camera can be used and they can ensure that a lot of engagements can be done. So I believe collaboration is going to play a very, very vital role, wherein companies like Tata Tele Services can provide you solutions which is probably being predominantly being used in Western countries. We can ensure that these technologies, solutions, products can be provided to the Indian clients as well.
Sure, sure. Raj, what are the new trends that you see coming up in the future? Unmute yourself, please.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Thank you. Yeah.
So I will take a one minute over here, and what Anusha said and what Mr. Ramaswamy said and Mahendra. So I want to take it. It's not only online. Okay, being a part of, I've been driving IT and telecom solutions for so many years, and my favorite subject is education. So I met various people, including Vice Chancellor of Mumbai, and saying that let me understand what are the trends. And I have narrated, or I put down some 9 to 10 trends. I will immediately take it. I'll not take a much time, because some of the trends you will understand by the name only. Okay, so what trend says is not only online. Okay, it's a blended one. First trend number one is blended learning is coming up, saying that he just now Anusha said that learning in school and classroom. It's a structured way. Partially it is a direct teacher instruction, and partially it is a self-directive activities. First trend. So my all the technology should go like that. Second trend is a personalized learning, wherein personalized learning allowing educator to customize and personalize learning based on the need of each student. Okay, it is not about what they want to teach; it's all about what student want to learn. Second is what Anusha said about hybrid schooling. Yes, hybrid schooling is very important because hybrid schooling provides an opportunity to strike balance between online learning and traditional so-called classroom learning, thus making it more interesting and innovative. So hybrid schooling has to be there. What's very interesting, which I got to know from one of the international teacher, he was talking about, you know about our STEM, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. So what they are saying that you may, it prepares students to enter into workforce, but they have added one college A, so STEM, STEM, arts. What now Madam said about a very important, apart from this subject, the arts has to be added, which can actually boost the quality of that particular student. So it is called as not STEAM, it's not called as STEM. You know, fifth is very important. Genius, like genius hours. Genius hours is fairly new educational techniques that allow students to work on self-paced. So everybody cannot be in online. Everybody cannot be catching you up. And self-chosen project on hourly, at least for 1 hour each day. It's very important, which coming up in India, and which will you will find very soon that 1 hour is given to them, and at least 1 hour you have to find out the own project, and you have to in one space you have to pace. You are need to do it. After that is a digital citizenship. I don't want to explain this, but more or less technology and internet both should be effectively, appropriately handled by both students and your student and teacher both. Okay, then bite-sized learning. See, these are the nomenclature coming up, which actually is going away from your online teaching only, because it's actually the abusive word using online. Education is online. No, there are various things we need to do it. Okay. Next one is social emotional learning, which Anusha said very important. When teachers take time to nurture both students' education and social emotional development, academic progress improvement, and the classroom behavior issues, there are some technology coming up who can handle this. I know it cannot replace your classroom, but still we need something to handle it. The project-based learning I already told you, because that experience learning is very important, which is not happening online when you are at home. So or when you are doing distance learning, so that is very important. People are taking up. And last, TTT, that is a train the trainer. Unless I train the teacher, okay, with the technology, the effectiveness of the thing will not come. This is what trains which I understood from the video, and I just taken it and put it in one format and trying to tell you this. Yeah, Anmol.
Great. I think all these trends look very exciting. It's a great time to be a kid today. I think you have so many options on your plate. Silambarasan, I'll come to you. You know, one thing that has worked well for your institution, which you would probably advise others on. We have a lot of educators who joined us today, about 50 people in the audience. I'm sure they want to know that one thing which has worked for you, which they can take back and apply at their institute.
In terms of bringing people, like I said earlier, we are able to bring people from different domain, like a 3D printing technology. Then we train the students, and we use some mobile apps to try it in their homes. So bringing people from different domains and training the students, it's a really important thing for Isha Vidhya. Also, we tried a different model where we selected the student of different level and used the best teachers to teach the particular level, which was not possible. We have 10 schools in and around Tamil Nadu. So that's the best teacher in one school, but he may not be able to teach the rest of the locations. So what we happened, we selected the needed student, we clubbed them in one particular group, that teacher catering the need of the particular group of students. That also worked well. And also in terms of workshops and like a simulation app, there are a lot of simulation available in the online. So we try to integrate that into our curriculum through online training. That also worked well. So only these three things we feel work well in terms of online teaching for Isha Vidhya.
Great. The wall that I see behind you, I think we have broken those walls when it comes to education, because now you're able to group students as well from different from different parts, different branches, and club them together. Interesting perspective. Great discussion. A quick question to all the panelists. Would love to know a little bit about you personally, which is what do you read or watch to get your business updates? Second part of the question, who is your influencer? Someone who you look up to, someone who you learn from. Maybe I'll start with you, Mahendra.
So there are a lot of knowledge which is already available on the web, right? You have to only make sure that you pick and choose which is of interest to you. Like I keep on reading the trends, which is primarily coming from the Western countries, on how the entire technology is changing the world, right? ET is another source of discussion, which can keep on providing you the right information as and when needed.
Sure. And who's someone you look up to, someone who you follow very closely?
Uh, um, there are a lot of people whom I keep on checking is like T. Harvicker is one gentleman. I keep on reading about millionaires mindset, how these people have been doing a great job in terms of overall development of the people, right? Tony Robbins is another gentleman who's been doing a lot of coaching, right? So these are two couple of gentlemen. I keep on following them a lot.
Great. They are my favorites as well. Raj?
Yeah, so there are two things. One is that I follow Stephen Covey. We can talk about because the paradigm shift is one of the good chapter in that. Johari's window is a very good chapter. Okay, I follow his series, and if two of you know that he has a series, and I have personally met him, and I have gone under 2 days training sort of thing under him. In Education Institute, I'm very closely so-called talk to Vice Chancellor of Mumbai, who actually grown from smallest Ria College education as a lecturer to the principal to this one, and I admire him for because he is a person who gives me trains, and who is a person who actually helps me in giving the educational overall. We don't have time for that, understand, but universities, colleges, coaching classes, all the trains he knows, and he is a very digital savvy person, and very close by I take a use case studies from him.
Wow. Great. Dr. Nandagopal. So if you can unmute yourself.
Wise, I follow Michael Porter and his recent works on research and strategic management, all those things. Technology wise, I always believe that my students can teach me much better. I always follow my students. So I learn a lot from him. In fact, when the Facebook came, first they only helped me to open the account, how to post and all those things. So I think the learning from students is very, very interesting. I think they are more technologically forward. That is one advantage being in the education system. I think we learn a lot from the students.
Great. I'm actually excited to sit in your classroom one day. It's I would love to have a teacher like that. Coming to Silambarasan, one person you follow and where do you get your business updates?
We have a lot of volunteer base for Isha Vidhya, so there is not particular person we follow. If I want to say one person, there is an educational NGO in Singapore. He's from UK, basically, but he runs an NGO in Singapore. He's much of our help in terms of planning and the content, and also training us in terms of this, tech savvy. So his name is Atul Pant, but I think most of you don't know. So he's the one person who's guiding us in terms of these updates happening in education.
Great, great. Anusha?
Actually, thanks to technology, and this question actually is a need of the hour. I don't think there is one place that gives such information, and I feel that there should be somewhere that gives the latest in. There are some magazines that I know of, but for me, luckily, Facebook and Instagram and all those things have good algorithms. Once you click on your favorite topic, they keep feeding you with information, good information. So I naturally follow a lot of innovations like the 3D hologram that was used in teaching, to all those information that keeps passing around. But, beyond that, I follow technology very closely with TED and, many other forums like that. And Elon Musk is my favorite. So, he kind of goes over and beyond with technology and risk taking, and so I follow him very closely. Yeah.
Great.
In
Awesome.
education, of course, my father, he is the founder of the institution, and he is a big inspiration. He is almost now 1 lakh people have gone through our system, and every day, he's 76, just turned 76 last week, and he's, there's no dull moment for him. You just go and talk to him, and he'll have 1,000 ideas in his head. So it'll take a lifetime for me to implement all those. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So nice to hear that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this amazing, insightful discussion. I think this was an MBA of sorts for anyone who's in the education space. How do you go about the pandemic? How do you bring in technology? What are the new trends? How can you take your institution to the next level? So a big thank you to each one of you.